Hey, Cortavius here, 3:30 in the morning, so I'm hoping I did the math right, but I happened to still be awake, getting Chimera and Artifact Enhancement done on 2 accounts. Anyway, Path of Spring is open. I thought I would just take a peek, do some quick math. Well, they gave us a maze, so I had it in keys everywhere, and you need keys and multiple fragments. Yikes. So anyway, I did the math and figured out what the cost will be, so let's get into that. But first, if you want to start a new account, really cool thing going on in the account. If you click the link in the description below, you can get yourself Karato, legendary nuker, who can help lock out the enemy, and Tagoar when you hit level 15. Just follow that link, start up those accounts, get a new account rolling. You can get some cool new champs to start with. But if we get into this path thing, let me get out of the game and I'll show you the math that I did. All right, so I drew some pictures and I did some math. What I think we need to do is, I'm assuming everybody needs 50 fragments because that's the minimum you have to get if you did the summon rush. If you didn't do the summon rush, then you need 75 fragments. And one thing they did that's really cool is they did break them into 4 pieces. So you don't have to get the 50 plus 50. You can do the 50 plus 25 and ignore the fourth 25s. Unless you skipped something, missed something, and you got to make it up. I didn't do the math on getting an extra 25 fragments because this thing's expensive enough. So I assumed, hey, you're going in for the 75 you have to get, or the 50. So you need 37,750 points if you did the summon rush. You need another 15,500 if you need the extra 25. And then the soul for this champ is available for another 50,000 points. Sorry, 51,000 points. Now, one caveat on this thing. I'm assuming that this thing works the way the diagram's drawn. We found out in the last one of these, they can't draw. So sometimes these lines that look like you can take multiple paths don't actually work because you can't actually go down the lines that are drawn. I don't know how to do that until some brave soul watching this video or in the community decides to do this thing and starts drawing the path, and then they'll post to Reddit that the map doesn't work because Plarium doesn't tell us until we tell them it's wrong, and then they go, oh yeah, the map's wrong. I'm hoping, since it just happened on the last one, that they realize we're all going to get pissed again, and then they actually drew the map right this time. So that's an assumption that I hope is a good one. It's Plarium though, who knows? So Soul's another 51,000, which means you need 104,250 points in total. If you do the red path is to get just the 50 fragments. You got to add the green path in to get the next set of 25 because you need another key. And then the blue is assuming, since I've already broken down to this path, I can just come over here, grab the one extra key I don't need now, but that's the cheapest on this row, and then grab the 50,000. So those are the paths. The red path for the first, green path if you need another set of 25, and the blue path if you need the soul. And then costs. So it's 8.4 fragments for just the 50 fragments, which is expensive for if this was just a second champ chase, right? Good news is it's 2 times Sacreds, and they have a progressive going on with some good champs from Thursday through Sunday. I didn't do a video on that, but honestly, I'll probably hang out for Sunday. I think that's where some of the better champs are. Let me know if you want me to walk through the champs. I can do that too. I won't do it in this video for the sake of time. But 8 fragments, which I think is expensive. If the math's right, which looks like you can do the next set for only 3.4 Sacreds, you know, that's 11.8 or 12 Sacreds. Now you're actually getting to be about the right cost, because if you did the summon rush for 6, which is about average, and you did a champ chase for about 6, that's about average or light. So for 2 summon events, you can do it for 12 Sacreds. That is about right. So the cost of the 2 to combine, I do think is par for the course. We can all argue that 12 Sacreds for a champ is a lot of Sacreds, but it's par for the course for these things. So I think you can now use that to determine, is this champ worth 12 Sacreds to you? If not, then call it. You know, take the fragments you have so far and go get mod and convert those into mod fragments and say, I don't want to spend any more on this guy, I'm done. If you think this guy can help your account and you want to go get him, then go get him and use your 12 frags. So now there are other columns there. So if you don't want to use Sacred Shards, you can use void shards. It's going to cost you 71 voids for the 2. There is no 2 times on voids, and there is no progressive on voids. Actually, there is a progressive on voids. There's just not a 2 times. So you won't have 2 times the chance, but there's a progressive. And progressive on voids is okay. You know, it's not, but on non-voids, it's really crap. And then ancients, you're talking 83 ancients or another 34. So 117 or so there. And then 118. And then if you wanted to do dungeon divers, just taking a rough estimate of how many points you could get, and that depends on what stage you run. But if you got like 36 points per piece of gear, you're talking like 1,050 pieces of gear, or 1,479 roughly to get all the fragments you'd need. And that's about 23,667 energy. So it's kind of prohibitive to do it through dungeon divers, but you could just run dungeons and then lower your cost of shards. But I don't think there's really anything exciting going on in the dungeons right now either. So, you know, it's not too compelling. And the dungeons kind of suck anyway for running gear, I think anyway. So unless they had kept the 3 times speed up through this thing, that would have been helpful. Or 3 times Savage and Fire Knight, but I'm not aware they're doing those. So that's a lot of energy just to get the fragments. And then if you want to add the 5-star soul in there, you know, you're going to have to get the 46,333 use of energy. And honestly, that was doing probably an average that I don't know that you're going to get in Dungeon 20, which is where I use the energy cost from. So I think it's going to be more than that, to be honest. If you run the hard dungeons, you'd get more points per run, but you're going to use more energy per run because the energy's higher. So call it 50,000 energy, and you're right in the ballpark to get the soul too. So now if I just take the soul, that's another 11 sacreds. I mean, I got to make my own decisions. On my main account where I got piles of shards, I think I'll get the champ. I got to decide if I really want to get that soul though. And on the free to play where I have 57 sacreds, I think I'll get the champ because I have Fina. So I think Fina and this guy together can be interesting. I think he'll be good for hard faction wars, and he's a defense-based nuker. So I think that's kind of compelling. I certainly would love to have him with a 4-star soul then, and some accuracy, you know, at least a 4-star soul for damage. So it's tempting, but you're talking 23 sacreds. Or I got to use a bunch of energy to lower that cost. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do with the soul. Pretty sure I'll pick up the champ on both accounts. Not sure what I'm going to do with the soul though. So I'll just have to figure that out. For now, we got days to do this, and pulling shards takes minutes. So it's not like I'm in a rush. So I'll probably get some dungeons running just to see if my math is any good on the dungeons and start rolling on those. And lower the costs somewhat, but you know, it's still going to be 20 sacreds probably. And this champ's probably not worth that. So I don't know. I could end up just saying, screw it, I won't do them at all. But I'm this close, so I don't want to get sunk in because I'm this close. So I got time to decide, as I said. There's not much else I'm doing in the game for the fusion, so they kind of put this at the end, really. You know, there's a couple more events coming that aren't that big. So I think Ice Golem or something's a dungeon coming up, which is kind of painful. So anyway, that's the information that's there. I think you can make decisions off that. That's the costs that are in front of you. You can just make your own decisions now. I would love to hear from you in the comments. You know, did you do the fusion at all? Are you interested in this? Is this something you're going after? Honestly, if you're not doing the fusion, then the soul and the fragments in here are just a waste. I wouldn't go anywhere near this thing if I'm just using shards. I would have skipped the whole progressive event too. I mean, 2 times sacreds with progressives on sacreds, which we know that the extra chances on progressives are crap. So I just sit the whole thing out and save my resources for the future. If you didn't see my video on resource management that came out yesterday, I think, watch that video. I mean, this is a great example of don't waste your resources. Go for this thing, get the fusion, and decide if you want the soul, or sit it out and save the resources for something else more rewarding, because just getting something down this path just isn't worth it. So those are my thoughts. As I said, please leave comments. Let me know if you're doing the fusion, if you're going after this, if you're going to get the fusion fragments and the soul, or if you just didn't care about this guy at all and you sat this whole thing out. Just love the feedback. So, hey, appreciate it and hope this was helpful. Thanks a lot. Bye.